Good afternoon to everyone. இங்கு கூடியிருக்கும் அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய மனமார்ந்த வணக்கங்கள். I have known V.R. Sampath nearly 40 years. So the only reason why I am here is because I know him. I must make it very clear. So I also happened to arrive today as scheduled. I arrived this morning, went to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I have taken the time to attend this conference and also hope to be here tomorrow. I am from Chennai, but particularly for those of you who know Tamil Nadu very well and the suburbs of Chennai very well, I was born in a little village called Kannigapper, which is in Tiruvallur district. My father was a doctor there, he passed away, so I wanted to become a doctor, but I didn't make it. Then I became a lawyer. So for the reasons, very simply put, I met a lady in Canada. I've traveled around 44 countries around the world. I stayed in UK for a while. I met the lady in Canada, married her in Sydney and lived in Chennai, not far from Sampath's office in Indira Nagar. So we used to meet very, very often. So we lived here for 3.5 years and then I moved across to Australia 32 years ago. I'm an elected councillor for the Blacktown City Council. You can see on the screen and you can look up the Blacktown City Council. Susai Benjamin is my name, and Susai, for those of you who don't know, is a Tamil version of Joseph. My parents came from Kerala, my mother tongue Malayalam, my tongue is Tamil because I was born and brought up here. In those days I used to write Tamil poems and Tamil essays when I studied in the Tamil medium in Santham High School in Mylapore, of course, in Grama Pallikodam in my village. So that's my background, just to give you a picture of what's going on. I'm a solicitor and a barrister, and I work for the state of New South Wales. I run the litigation for the Chief Commissioner of State Revenue on tax matters. So therefore I'm a little close to the panelist, the minister from Natal. I run those cases on tax matters for the state, and the Revenue New South Wales is a single agency of the department to raise money for our state. New South Wales is the largest state in Australia, for those of you who may not be aware. Sydney is the capital of New South Wales. Now, I also run a free legal service for the weaker community, the marginalized and the poor and the oppressed, disadvantaged people, along with about 40, 50 volunteers with me. That's almost my second employment, which doesn't have any money, so we spend a lot of our time because we are passionate to help those people. I think there's no point in making money. You got to live some happiness. You got to give some back to the community. So I think that was said earlier in one of the speakers, it's not about wanting to make money. You should be happy with what you're doing. And for those of you who are following international situation, I think the Bhutanese people live by the happy index. Happy index. Are you happy? That's the purpose of life. You're born and you'll die. I think a lot of people also said about that. The journey of life is you make a difference. So the third job of mine is representing the people of Blacktown. And I was talking to the judge from Seychelles, a retired Chief Justice, and he said, I asked him the question, how many people live there? So he said 98,000. So Australia a little bigger than that, as you know, and our council has got at the moment 396,000 people or thereabout, and we are projected to become over 560 or thereabout, which will be bigger than the Tasmanian state. If you know Australia a little bit, then you understand what I'm talking about. Also bigger than the ACT, Australian Capital Territory, where the Canberra is located, and bigger than the Northern Territory. I want to, at this stage, recognize my fellow Australians. Bala Balendra is here from Auburn, and he was the former Deputy Mayor of the Auburn Council, which of course no longer exists, and his wife is also sitting here smiling away, which is good. So. And of course, Thiruvengadam Marmagam is also here, and is also a compatriot in the political party that I'm a member of for the last 30 years. I am elected, I'm the second term councillor on Blacktown, and I'll run through very quickly the opportunities available in Australia, and I can speak a little bit about Blacktown City Council. I was also a member of the Australian Multicultural Advisory Council appointed by the Government of Australia, and in that part of that process I travelled a lot. And at the moment, my understanding is that Australia needs 300 plus thousand people to make the economy of the country running. And somebody was talking about here that the Bhuma Devi is suffering because of the weight of the population of India. I don't think the Bhuma Devi should be suffering. Bhuma Devi must be very happy because we are producing enough through the religious structure of our society, the family protection of our society, and therefore we are now able to export the best of the best human beings, not only Mr. Pichai to the United States, but we are exporting a lot of people to all over the world. The world needs us, particularly the Western world needs us, and this is the reality in which we live. Now, just quickly run through the slides, if I don't mind, please. Thank you. To give you some context where the Black Town is, next slide, please. It's on the western side of Sydney, which is the southeast area. Next slide, please. Gives you some understanding of the population and where we stand in the equation of things. Blacktown City Council, the fourth largest city council in Australia. It's a fairly big operation that we run. Next one, please. Gives you an idea of its assets and budget and staffing. I'll let you read that. It's not very complex. Next one, please. So we are a pretty growing council, and those of you who are interested, you're welcome to come and visit us. We will facilitate meetings with our economic development team. There's a whole lot of team there, so I can assist you at that time. So we are a diverse, next one please, diverse community. You can see the number of languages we speak, the people who live there. The world is in Australia. The world is in Australia. One of the reasons, for those of you who don't know, 2000 Olympics was awarded to Sydney because of the language skill and the cultural diversity of the city of Sydney. So we are a very diverse sort of group of people from all over the world. People call Australia home. All over the world. There are people there. All the language in the world that is spoken, there are people available in Australia. So those of you who are interested to do business in Australia, you're most welcome. So next slide, please. We are becoming an educational hub in Western Sydney. We are getting a large campus of a university. We got several universities in Australia, and of course multiple registered training organizations. We call ourselves the RTO, not the Regional Transport Office, but it's as known in Tamil Nadu, is the registered training offices. So there are a number of them there. And then the next one, please. And we are building an international center of excellence in sports for those of you who love sports. Next one, please. There's a big health precinct as well. Next one. Next one. I was part of a trade mission to India during August and September, a massive program covering 3 cities, and we met with about nearly 200 business people in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, Bombay, and Delhi. It was an interesting program. Next one. Thank you for the opportunity to share some thoughts with you. Blacktown City Council is an expanding council. I'll be here for the rest of the evening today and tomorrow. Those of you who want to catch up with me, I'm happy to talk to you. And those of you who want to know how to get there, we will assist, and Thiru can assist as well. Thank you again. And thank you to the panel to share the, and my old friend Sampath, and he's always laughing, which is good. And believe me, since the time I met him about 40 years ago, he hasn't changed. I don't know how he manages, but...